Welcome in to a Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered here live by Go Chevrolet, online at GEAUXchevrolet.com. Remember, you can find them always online at GEAUXchevrolet.com as our friends over there, Nick Richard, Lee Carney, and everybody at Go Express Auto Sales, which is in Baton Rouge on the corner of Florida Boulevard and Sherwood Forest. And Go Chevrolet is out in LaPlace, Louisiana, which is a brand new car lot. We will talk to LSU head basketball coach Matt McMahon, catch up with him at 8:15 this morning. Really looking forward to talking to Coach McMahon about the last couple of months on the job. And right now, of course, in the part of the team building process where he's got all of his guys together. So they've had some videos come out, bowling, cooking classes, putting together the chemistry and the trust off the floor that they can depend on one another on the floor. So we'll talk to Coach McMahon coming up here at 8:15 this morning. We'll have a little trivia as Lizzie is here, Lloyd is here, and we've also got Stewie and Jamil is here on a Tuesday morning. So make sure and hit that like button, share button, comment button if you don't mind, and the hot stay on fire as LSU football recruiting picks up another one on Monday, as they landed a verbal commitment from four-star athlete Jojo Stone for the class of 24. Class of 24 is starting to bulk up here. They've gotten a couple of commitments over the last couple of days and weeks. They're now up to 3 in the class. But from Logan'sville, Georgia, LSU now has 3 commitments, as we said, for the class. He is a teammate of Michael Daugherty, who is a commitment to the class of 2023. So LSU stays on fire as far as recruiting is concerned. And then today, a big announcement this morning at 10:30 this morning, Caleb Jackson, who is a top 6, top 7 running back in the country, right here out of Baton Rouge, out of Liberty, is going to make his announcement and choose his college.
Any feel?
I think he's going to LSU. I think the people, I know the people around LSU feel very confident that he's going to LSU. I think this was an LSU Texas A&M race, and I think his visit to Texas A&M a couple of weeks back really kind of secured the commitment more for LSU. Just being away from home and having the chance to play in Baton Rouge, I think, is too good of an opportunity to pass up for Caleb Jackson, the big 6 foot, 200-pound, solid running back, man. I mean, LSU's running back class in this cycle is legit.
A little bounce back from last season.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They needed a little bounce back.
Would you Citizen and the kid from Baton Rouge?
Le'Veon Moss. Yeah. I mean, which are 2 really good backs. I mean, I think it's only going to be a matter of time before Citizen cracks the lineup at Miami. And I think Le'Veon Moss, his style, the way he runs is very SEC back. I mean, he's just a bruising, come third, fourth quarter, you want nothing to do with tackling Le'Veon Moss. And 2 really big misses for LSU. Obviously, Frank Wilson got onto the job very late into the process during that recruiting cycle, and you see the type of impact he can have once he's able to really settle in and be able to recruit his position. And Caleb Jackson this morning at 10:30 feels like it's going to be an LSU choice, and obviously Trey Holly, who is out of North Louisiana, who, any service you look at, both of those guys kind of bounce back forth who's number 1, who's number 2 running back in the state, but both of them are top 10 running backs in the country. And I think they definitely needed a solid class when it came to running back. So they pick up Jojo Stone yesterday. They should pick up Caleb Jackson this morning. So LSU football right now is just blazing on the recruiting trail.
I forgot that we watched Gervonta Citizen here. And then we put the video out, and we got trolled by all of Miami. Remember, we're like, this is doing some numbers. Like, oh, no, it's all of Cane Nation was laughing at our pain. And I was like, oh, my God, I forgot about that.
Wasn't he the one that, took the LSU hat out, put it on, and then he, tossed it? Oh.
Hey.
Tough day. Tough day.
And Citizen's a player.
I know.
I mean, he's a stud, man.
I thought he was an LSU lock.
Me too. I thought for sure when Frank Wilson got the job, and I mean, being in Lake Charles and Wilson had been there, not to say that he had been recruiting him, but I got to imagine he knew who he was and he had a relationship with him.
You know, Frank takes daddy hacks. He's not afraid to try to get you down to McNeese or UTSA. It don't matter who you are. He's going to give you his pitch.
Offer you.
He tried to offer Derek Stingley. He tried to get Derek Stingley. It's like, kind of like what you're selling, but I can't go there. I mean, he's not afraid to take swings.
You can be 2 and done.
I mean, look at Dion, what he's doing. He's changed the whole culture of an entire program. That's crazy.
Colton Mack, this show owes me an apology for making me depressed week before last with the recruiting rants. I'm not apologizing.
No apologies.
For that, Colton. Because I stand by what I said. I wasn't trying to be as depressing as I came off because that has been the majority of the reaction. Was that it was a depressing rant. I was just pointing out that you're not going to build a championship contending team without Louisiana talent. And they are cleaning up in recruiting right now. They're doing great work in recruiting. I mean, that cannot be argued. They're putting together really good classes that I think that they are specifically looking for certain type of players. I think that they're very focused in and granular on the type of player that they're looking for, and they're finding them specifically all over the country, and they're able to put their resources out there and get them. But you still got to land Shelton Sampson. You still got to land Caleb Jackson this morning. You still got to get Trey Holly. You still got to get Lance Hurd. And some of those guys that we just mentioned are commitments. So, they're doing the work. It's not as if we're pointing out that they're just totally negligent in what they're doing. And, we had Sam Spiegelman come through here a couple of shows ago and talk about how, this Louisiana cycle is kind of taking their time to make their choices. They're going through the process, and, at some point they're going to make their decision, but it's not right now. So that's not LSU's fault. I'm just saying LSU's got to have as much success as they're having outside of the state. And they're having a tremendous amount of success right now recruiting nationally, which is really good to see the power of the brand and the way that it travels. But you need to have as much success as you're having out of the state as in the state. And I think that's also to also send a message, right, to other schools and to other, really SEC opponents that, it's tough to come into Louisiana and just pluck players out of here. And I think that's the reputation that, you've heard Jamar Cain. You've heard other coaches come through here that have been on other staffs. At Oklahoma, they were always recruiting the big-time players. I had no idea until talking to Wilson Alexander yesterday that the only school that Will Campbell really ever contemplated outside of LSU was Oklahoma. I wasn't aware of that. But Jamar Cain was steadily coming into Louisiana, and he would say, look, you got a feeling when you came into Louisiana that if a kid was committed to LSU or they were about LSU, you just kind of kept driving. It wasn't worth it. And that's the type of reputation I think that this staff needs to build within the state with their recruits. And all of that starts on, grassroots level of building relationships with high school coaches and parents and people around programs. And that's the stuff and the time that this staff is in. But one thing that can't be argued is that they're great recruiters. They are fantastic recruiters from a just collective standpoint, and no pun intended, just collectively as a group. This is a hell of a staff that shows tremendous amount of reach to bring players back to Baton Rouge, whether it's Cortez Hankton and his crew going down to Miami and fishing on a 5-star, or Jamar Cain going all over the country and taking state's top players at defensive line, Frank Wilson continuing to dominate the players that he wants. It's been a very impressive plan from Brian Kelly, Brian Polian, and the recruiting staff in the way that they have really gone out and sold the message. Whether it's with NIL or without NIL. I know that you can't sit in somebody's living room and tell them how you're going to pay somebody, but there's ways to get the message of NIL capability to players, and I don't know if there's specific pitches to that. I got to imagine that there is, because I just imagine questions pop up about it. But LSU right now the message is hitting home.
And don't get it twisted that LSU is still a national brand and very, like, it's not like, I mean, we're so close to it being like, if you're an LSU fan or you in Baton Rouge, you saw how kind of nasty it got here, how, like, it felt almost broken. But that doesn't mean that message has to be continually sent. Like, there's a reason you brought in Brian Kelly. There's a reason you overhauled the entire staff. LSU as a brand, it's still to high school kids. They don't know any of that stuff. It's still very much alive and well. You know, like, the colors still hit nationally. But it's you want to be able, LSU will always be able to be a top 10 recruiting class. Like, wouldn't you agree that there always will be able to get people like that as long as they're moving in the right direction? You can't have another 6-6 year, but you can sustain 2 of them. And then if you overhaul the entire coaching staff, bring in a proven winner in Brian Kelly, then obviously his recruiting has always been national. You got to give him time to start honing in on the local kids and being able to understand Louisiana. We just thought it would happen a little earlier with the addition of Frank Wilson, Cortez Hankton. I thought that would be their first play, but they kind of stuck to their guns of what they've known how to recruit. When you talk about Jamar Cain, he's always recruited nationally. Brian Kelly has always recruited nationally. So if it has to be a one-off of this year where, look, we're going to do what we know well and this is how we're going to recruit, not going to blow up our plan, then so be it. But there will always be Louisiana kids that you have to nab, and it felt like LSU missed on a couple of them, but you said that maybe the Derek Williams recruiting isn't over. You see Jordan Matthews is still out there. You know, they re-offered him, whatever that means. But those are the guys that you would hope to get in the boat, and that makes a massive difference in how you can kind of take a big step in becoming a title contender again, in my mind.
No doubt. I think that, and look, I don't think that that's breaking news by any means. I think that everybody knows.
I just think the message got lost in what we were trying to say last week.
Yeah, no, and it wasn't more of, you know, pointing out that the staff was failing in recruiting. I think it was just the emphasis on the state, you know, I mean, just has to be there. They know that. I mean, come on, this isn't groundbreaking news by anything that we can say. I mean, everybody, I think that's inside the program knows that what makes the place special and what makes LSU unique is a couple of things. But, you know, I mean, one of the pillars is the fertile recruiting ground that you're in. I mean, you can step outside of LSU's football operations facility and go, you know, 60 miles in any direction you want, north, south, east, west, and you're going to find a 5-star of some type of position. I mean, you're going to find and multiple. You know, I mean, you'll be able to really not travel that far away from your own stadium to build your roster and build a championship contending roster. But the way that LSU is spreading their wings and recruiting outside the state just shows you the power of the brand, because it's a very atypical recruiting season for Louisiana. I mean, how many times have we sat and talked about the lack of quarterbacks in the state of Louisiana? I mean, when have we talked about a real dominant quarterback in a recruiting cycle, and then the 2023 edition comes through and you've got 3 Elite 11 quarterbacks, all in South Louisiana? I mean, with Arch Manning at Newman, Eli Holstein at Zachary, and Ricky Collins at Woodlawn, I mean, that's a very atypical year for Louisiana, in the same sense where you've got a really nice talent pool of quarterbacks. You don't have a lot of defensive linemen. I mean, when's the last cycle that you've not had at least 1 or 2 defensive linemen that LSU was at least evaluating? Right? Or at least, you know, I mean, focusing in on and making sure that you got Mason Smith, that you got Jaquelin Roy, that you got, you know, the Drake Nevis. I mean, anybody.
Quincy Wiggins.
I mean, sure. I mean, anybody that you know, I mean, there's always 1 or 2, it feels like. But this year it's not as talented, it's not as deep, it's not as I mean, it's just not there. So I mean, it's a very atypical recruiting season for Louisiana. So when there's you know, opportunities to get outside the state and fill those needs, I mean, they've shown you they can do that, and it's been very impressive. Very impressive. Philip Clinton, Hashtag Ask Jordy, does LSU flip Ricky Collins? I believe they do. I know that their emphasis and attention is really focused in on that. Just going after Collins. I know Joe Sloan is really got his antennas up on Collins, is doing really bang up work of recruiting him every day. He's got a good relationship with Collins. He talks to him all the time. He's been through the building unofficially, and they've had really good conversations. So I think that Ricky Collins is on LSU's radar and a target that they are going after. And I think that they believe, a lot like what we talked about yesterday, of signing a quarterback per class. I believe that they buy into that philosophy. That is their philosophy that we buy into. They're not buying into our philosophy. That they are under the philosophy that they should take a quarterback per cycle and then let that room compete itself out. Right? It makes sense to say that Walker Howard is going to be the quarterback of the future, but you don't really know how it's going to play out. Sure, we all would like to spell it out and be able to see it and, it kind of just sketch itself out and play exactly like it looks, but, rarely that's the case in football. So you just throw as many guys in that room, let them compete, and, if things happen on the field and you got to go to other players, then you got to make sure you have talent at that spot. And the only way to do that is recruit it every year. And, transfers and all of that stuff will kind of play itself out. But you at least want to be in the fight because you've got the talent. And, Ricky Collins added to the room of, Garrett Nussmeier going into his redshirt freshman season. Walker Howard going into his true freshman season, and potentially throw a guy like Collins into that room next year. That's really good. That's once again where Mike Denbrock said here 2 weeks ago, he feels like that LSU's quarterback room right now is as good as there is in the country. You put that mix together next year, and now back-to-back years, you've got really solid personnel, competition, and guys just fighting it out to be the quarterback. And that builds that cycle, what we talked about yesterday, where the natural evolution of the spot will give guys the opportunity to prepare themselves so where, when it's time to play, the lights aren't too bright. Where, that's kind of the cycle that LSU's been in for a decade, with a couple of outliers. But for the most part, LSU was a graveyard for quarterbacks. But now if you can, 2 years in a row have competition where you got 3-4 guys duking it out for the spot, and you're able to hang on to one or two in the portal, outside of the portal, not that they don't enter the portal. And then the next season, you throw another Elite 11 quarterback into the mix, throw him into the competition. He didn't have to play game one. He didn't even have to really play his true freshman season. But he's able to compete, get it, see it, understand the speed of the game, and when it's his time, now you got another third year where you got really good quarterback competition. Now you got a cycle where you've reversed the storyline. And LSU needs to do that with the quarterback spot. And the way you do it is you got to recruit it at a high level. The poll question is up, brought to you by Southern Eye Center of Baton Rouge. Southern Eye Center is located on Jefferson Highway. And remember, if you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, they'll take 25% off of name brand sunglasses over at Southern Eye Center. Our friend Dr. Ann Shaw and her crew over there are ready for your business here on these summer days and summer months with the sunshine beaming down, and you are looking for a wide selection of name brand sunglasses. Top of the line, all name brand, and you can take 25% off over there on Jefferson Highway at Southern Eye Center of Baton Rouge just by mentioning the Jordy Culotta Show. The poll question is, will LSU flip Ricky Collins? Simple yes or no. Jump on to YouTube or any of our sites there and let us know. I think they do.
The poll question before that was, we have a listener in Las Vegas that said it's 4 a.m. I was wondering, are you just waking up, or have you not gone to sleep yet?
Now it would be waking up, but I mean, if I was Stewie's age, it would be still rolling.
I would be just.
What do you Stewie's age? I can't hack it at 30.
Just getting
No,
going.
absolutely.
Get me back in there. That was a disaster. It's exhausting.
Vegas?
Oh my god, it took a week to recover. I thought I was dead. DJ one night, and that's all I got.
How much money did you spend?
Well, how much money did I win?
How much?
Did you play?
No, I don't play the table games. It's so boring. It's not enough.
Yeah,
and then there's a lot going on with
like golf for me.
people take it too seriously. Like if you're around like the blackjack table or the craps table, they're living or dying. Like, brother, we're at the $5 minimum table. Like, I think we're gonna be okay. But they why'd you hit on that soft 16? It's like, I don't fucking know. Like, I'm here for the cocktails.
Pay the fine, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jeez,
I'm trying to get the drinks.
Trying to split these tens.
God, no wonder you're broke. Logan Brazina, hashtag Ask Jordy. Will LSU push on Holstein now that Nana has another, I think he said Bama, has another 4-star commit at quarterback? Yeah, I saw Alabama picked up another quarterback commit
another top 10 quarterback, too.
Yeah.
They're loaded at quarterback. Their backup, I don't know. I saw him in the spring game. I don't know his name, but he can scoot. He's a little bit of a player.
I mean, that's kind of like changed the storyline for Saban. Is that now he's become like this quarterback
offensive
whisperer?
guru.
Yeah, right. I mean, like spread offense,
Get
putting up
lane one
numbers,
time.
Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks.
Dude, how miserable do you think Bill O'Brien is? Every day.
Oh,
I mean, from going to being the head coach
I mean,
and general
O'Brien
manager
looks like
of the Texans.
he looks like a miserable human being to
to
start
a
off
whipping
with.
boy for Nick Saban, where he's just like every day shows up to where he's like, God, I'm about to go get it again. Like every day he has to show up, and he's like, I used to be the head coach of an NFL football team,
dude,
and the
the
general
GM.
manager of the Texans.
He was the GM. He was drafting people.
Now I'm hiding in the booth from Nick Saban. He can't even get on the field. He's like, I don't want anything to do with it.
You know what? I don't
He
really
had
want
to be
coach
looking
the
for a
field.
job to coast last year. Nobody be hiring him.
It's
crazy.
It's crazy that like Nick Saban catches none of the flack. It's always it's offensive coordinator, it's defensive coordinator. It's never Saban.
Yeah, no.
And it's just the whole staff just gets worked by him, and then does everybody from the top down just. It can't be Nick Saban's fault. He'll take over.
That's why Kirby and Lane were like, "See you later."
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Oh.
Staying here.
Right.
The lane was probably the all-time sideline like reactions. Those two going back and forth.
I think he told Lane Kiffin like, I'm gonna beat you up in public.
We're gonna fight.
You know what I
one day.
mean? Like I'm going to just like verbally
you
assault you on
He
national
left the
television.
man at the
And Lane was just
game.
probably like, bro, I mean, do what you got to do, man.
I got
You know
another
what I mean?
job.
As long as you don't mess with me while I'm messing with these boosters.
We're good.
You know what I mean?
As long as you
Just-
don't mess with any of the boosters.
Yeah, right.
Coach, I got Blake Sims over here. We're winning games. We're gonna be all right.
I mean,
Golly,
the best 2-point play ever.
got beat by a running back
Tiger
as
Stadium.
quarterback.
Tiger Stadium. The best 2-point play ever.
Was it the rub?
The rub. Standing
With the
by
wheel?
himself.
The whistle.
He was standing by himself. I mean, he was so wide. It was like a backyard play.
It makes my stomach hurt.
It was like a backyard play. Les Miles kicked it out of bounds.
Cameron Gamble. Not
Oh,
your
yeah.
fault, dude. Not your fault, Cam.
It wasn't Cameron
No, it
Gamble's
wasn't.
fault. Les Miles told him to kick it short.
Yeah, he tried to coffin corner the kickoff
Every time.
Every time.
Every time.
And it never worked.
It never worked. And even
But
if
when
it
it
did
did,
work,
They would
but I
get a nice
mean-
it
return.
wasn't worth it. It was
wasn't
never
worth it.
worth
Yeah,
it. It wasn't worth it.
You either
mean-
giving up field position or you kicking it out
Well,
of bounds.
it happened one time where somebody got like pinned inside the 5, and Les Miles was like, "That's what we're doing."
Oh, they
every
did it
time."
numerous times,
But
man.
I'm saying it worked once or twice, and he was like, "I'm addicted to this.
I love it.
Pin him deep." It's like, is he a punting coach? If it goes out of bounds, you realize they get it at the 40. He's like, "No, I
He's
didn't know
over there
that."
watching the ball.
Yeah, he was 100% thought if you kicked it out of bounds, he'd be like,
3
"That's
plays,
where they get the ball."
Blake Sims, touchdown.
Holding.
2-point conversion.
Holding everywhere.
I hate Les Miles.
I
Like
hate-
just thinking back on it, it just gives
It's
me.
so bad how much you remember those as opposed to the wins. Like those plays are burned in my brain more than like the winning plays are.
Yeah, because the wins felt like losses.
Yeah, every win felt like a loss.
I wonder.
mean-
Because you know you're going into the next week doing running the same offense.
I mean, it got to a point where I was pissed off when he would win because he would keep his job.
Yeah.
God.
Every win he
You were so jaded.
stacked
You were
up.
to get this
I would-
man out the
no,
game.
really.
Yeah,
Like, I'll
I don't blame
sacrifice
you.
it. You know what I mean?
Like we could lose the rest of the
Like-
year.
Keep those all whites on.
I'll go 5-7.
Please.
You know what I mean? Like,
For the betterment of the
I mean,
program.
whoever gets the job is going to turn it around overnight. They got an NFL football team in the locker room.
Like that 2015 team.
Oh,
How do you not
think
win
about
with
the
that team?
2013 team? with Odell Jarvis and Jeremy Hill.
And Zach Bettenberger. And you actually had a guy.
The only year he didn't have a defense. Like, he didn't have the foresight to, like, get into to go, like, get JUCO players on defense and be like, all we got to do is, like, sustain, like, just maintain.
Be okay for a year.
Absolutely.
Give me 11.
Like, just hold them to 28 points, and we'll win every game.
And couldn't.
But Craig lost it back there chasing everybody.
Hey.
I loved him.
5-star Papa.
I loved
I
Papa.
was going to say,
I loved Papa.
Craig did his thing.
But I mean, by that time in his life,
Dude,
he had
Papa
gray
was,
hair in his
Yeah, I was
beard,
going to
bro.
say Papa was tired of Papa.
mean,
like,
Papa was really Papa.
oh, I'm holding this thing together. But that pick
Jeez.
6 he had, was at Mississippi State,
Yeah.
where he went 99 the other way. It's like, he's got track speed, and he's 240 pounds.
he was the defensive player of the week that week in the SEC, and I want to say, like, that was the week that Dan Mullen gave the rest of the league the blueprint to go right at him. If he got
they
he got
went at him the whole game.
he got SEC Defensive Player of the Week because of that 99-yard interception. But like the game,
He was getting cooked.
He was getting cooked.
He was covering up for everybody. I'll leave Craig alone.
I mean, that game we talked about with Aaron Murray, in that game-winning drive, they would have
right
lost
at
him
him.
4 straight times.
Him and Jalen Mills.
I mean, they were looking at each other with their hands in the air the whole drive.
The whole
The
game.
whole
almost.
drive.
And they were going, hurry up. And it's like, dude, we don't have time.
I don't know who
we don't have
has him.
time.
You got the slide. I got the slide.
Somebody cover somebody. Let's get it cover 2. Shuck him.
It's T-Bob's fault for snapping the ball. He should have let him be fired. I agree.
Damn it, T-Bob.
God, T-Bob, you had the fate of the world in your hands.
Les owes him. I mean, he should have
bit
sent
of
him a
that
little
buyout,
chunk of
for
that
sure.
buyout for sure. Because I mean, he saved his life. Saved his life.
They probably would have killed him when he came back to Baton Rouge.
And then
He'd be a legend now, though.
Oh.
T-Bob would be a
Imagine if
legend.
T-Bob just would have held the ball and just pointed at the clock. It's like, what are we doing?
Or just picked it up and thrown it at him.
He hands him
That's
the
right. Hey,
game ball.
game ball for you, Les.
He walks it over.
Your
to
last
him.
time here.
Here's the
it.
gamer.
Yeah, right.
God. And then that man has the gall to run toss dive on 5th and goal.
No doubt.
He's like, you know exactly what we're doing. It's like, oh my God, he's going to do it. Ridley was fighting for his life.
Oh, the biggest FU moment of Les Miles' career to me is when he
said he's going to change the offense.
said he was going to change the offense, and he took Leonard and Harrison them to Green Bay to play Wisconsin. And on the opening drive of the game, he goes toss dive on 1st down. The whole summer, he's been telling you how he's going to change it up, how he's going to open it up, how it's going to look different. 1st down, they go, and the first drive of the game, they go 3 and out.
Toss dive, play action pass.
No doubt about it.
I remember exactly where I was.
too.
Got a bunch of white dudes from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Dave Aranda dude, if we talk about being able to go back in time and be like, Dave Aranda is going to scheme up Les Miles so badly. He's going to like look at that offense and be like, we're going to win.
God.
I think Dave was the defensive coordinator at LSU already, huh?
I don't think he
Because
was.
that was
No,
the
I
year.
think that was his first year.
That was the year LSU like didn't give up many touchdowns.
No, that was his
you're
first
right,
year.
you're
and
right.
the defense played
good. Tre'Davious White
incredible
scored the
that
only
day.
touchdown.
Yeah.
Played incredible that day.
Ricky Jefferson had a pick.
I think that was like Ogeron's first game as the defensive line coach, and Dave Aranda's first game as a DC.
Great hire.
Yeah, great. I mean, it was a life-saving hire. Toss dive.
First play. Dude, do you know how many people were collectively screaming at their TV at that one moment in
With
time?
that team though, like
But that man said he was going to change the offense all summer. They line up in I formation, toss dive. Everybody goes, get this off my TV, dude. There's no way he just did that.
After they
Leonard
beat,
was hurt.
Yeah, was
Yeah.
this after they beat the?
No, this is
was the
opening game
year
of the
Game
year.
one.
This
I know,
is
but
game
this was
one.
the year after they beat Texas Tech in the bowl game, like bad.
And he's running reverse with DJ Chark.
Right.
People are like,
DJ Chark was about to leave.
who is this guy?
Who's that?
Who is that?
He just
Running out of the
went
screen.
90, dude.
Just like, jeez, this guy looks like he's a pro.
And you put 2 wide receivers on the field, and that's it. That's all you get. We got 8 tight ends out here.
Dylan Gordon,
Yeah. Jesus.
Dylan Gordon.
extra tackle, basically.
Young bull.
Oh, man. That was crazy.
Such a dark
man.
time in my life.
Was. It was. You forget just how, boxed in you were as an LSU fan.
Every
how
Saturday.
miserable and depressing it was.
10 in the box.
How did y'all
I mean,
even cover
LSU
games?
deserved 2019 more than any other fan base, any other program in college football's last 25 years. I mean, they deserve what they endured during Les Miles' reign, and the early days of Ed Ogeron too were painful. Painful. I mean,
was
that
there
trip
for
to
Terrell.
Starkville, his first year where they got run
Was that
off the
Fitzgerald?
field.
Nick Fitzgerald was their quarterback?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Where they had They got run out.
Yeah, that was a fireable offense. It wasn't even close.
No, they got blown out.
Mm-hmm.
Cooked. I was at my baby shower.
Oh, congratulations.
I mean,
watched it from the baby shower.
Witnessing that offensive just
debacle,
whatever it was, for a decade plus. 2019 was so well deserved for everybody. That I mean, do you remember like seeing people out in restaurants and people just walking around being like, "This is incredible. This is unbelievable." They throw the ball down the field.
It's a year-long orgasm. Everybody's like, "How happy are you?" Like, couldn't be happier.
I mean, yeah, right.
Just got fired.
Business is losing money every day. My wife just left me.
But about Joe Burrow,
I'll tell you this, Burrow and Chase keep me up all night.
Couldn't be happier.
I love this guy, Thad Moss.
Justin Jefferson.
Throw the ball to the tight end. Like, I mean,
and Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, right. Baton Rouge guy. I mean,
who would have thought? He's going to be a first-round pick.
I mean, it was amazing. Amazing.
And 2019 turns out to be the biggest like blessing and curse, and probably in like the last 20 years, because that's when Ojo started chasing. He's like, well, give me that again. It's like, well, it takes a certain amount of chemistry to be able to.
A few things.
He had one really good piece. It's not just you need a quarterback that can operate the entire thing. And then we find out that Joe Burrow was operating the entire thing.
Oh, he's running the whole program.
And, yeah.
He's running the whole program.
Practice and everything.
Ed couldn't even like ride the coattails of 2019 for a year.
No,
immediately just ran it right into the ground.
He couldn't run it for a week.
Didn't even get to celebrate.
I mean, it was over before it even started.
As soon as Joe,
right back, dude. It's like you woke up from a fever dream.
And the rest of the crew packed up. He was like, it was done. It was cooked.
I mean,
he wanted to go with them.
Hell, he should have.
Like go to the NFL with y'all?
He should have.
What if he would have just retired like that? I just got so lucky.
I'm declaring for retirement.
Yeah, I'm gonna go coach the D-line at the New Orleans Saints.
Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by our friends over at Edward Jones. Our friends over at Edward Jones, Daniel Newman. Daniel.Newman. Let him get in touch with him today on how he can help you with your finances. If you're looking for a little direction, I've been telling you, if you are within the industrial sector, if you're working within the chemical plants, within the plant industry, anywhere in this listening area, if you're listening to this show and you hear it, let Daniel Newman help you out. He's got tremendous experience in that field. So many success stories. The last time I was in there was a waiting room full of industrial workers waiting to talk about the finances and how Daniel could help them out in getting them straight or just giving them a little direction. Online, Daniel.Newman at EdwardJones.com, Daniel.Newman at EdwardJones.com. Get in touch with him there. Let him help you out with your finances today. If you're inside the chat, like, share, hit the subscription button if you have not subscribed yet. We appreciate that. We're going to talk to Matt McMahon coming up here at 8:15. Really looking forward to talking to Coach McMahon and just kind of seeing what it's been like to put this team together and now really build the team building process, right? Kind of going through the days where you build up that trust where you're in the middle of a January, February, March game, and you look at the guy next to you and you think, hey man, we've been doing this for a long time. We've been by each other's side for a long time. We've gone through some junk together, and now we're in this moment. I can trust you. You can trust me. And it may not be the cooking class that happened last Tuesday night or the bowling outing that happened over the weekend, but those are the types of things that I think when you're spending time together and you're getting people away from basketball, off the court, out of the locker room, and let them just kind of seeing the human being outside of the jersey, that's where you really start to develop a liking to one another, or just a trust building time with one another. So Matt McMahon has had incredible mountains to climb since getting the job, right? I mean, he had to totally rebuild his roster, and when you say the term rebuild with this, I mean, he had to bring in 13 scholarship basketball players. I mean, it is a total rebuild, one that I don't think that we'll ever see again, hopefully, but one that was very extreme. And as we've always said, he did it very strategically with a lot of forethought and vision that went into it. And now he's got all these guys on campus, and now it's time to build the team process. And we'll ask him how that's going, and what recruiting is like for future classes, and what to expect, or his expectations for his group is this summer. So a lot to get with Matt McMahon, who is going to join us here at 8:15 this morning. So if you have a question for Coach, remember, just ask Coach McMahon if you want to tweet that, or text that in. You can. One of our loyal listeners seems like it's a sad morning for him. Our thoughts are with Cody Boudreaux, who lost his grandmother early this morning. So, Cody, we appreciate you being here like you are every morning, buddy. And we're with you, man. We're thinking about you and your family. Hopefully, this will help you out a little bit. But I know it's probably a grieving time for you and everyone. So we're sorry to hear the news here on this Tuesday morning. Phillips Clinton says, ask Jordy, how will LSU be on special teams this year? Landon Ibieta will lead the nation in kickoff and punt return average, at least 3 returns for touchdowns. That'll be awesome.
That would be unbelievable.
That would be incredible. He is he can fly, man. He can fly. It will be fun to see where they use him, how they use him, and just how early he can get onto the field. I'd imagine his first entry point would be somewhere in special teams, probably kickoff return. I don't know what they're thinking on punt return. I've seen Malik Neighbors back there a lot during spring.
That's what I would go with.
Probably primarily, but I do believe Ibieta probably would have something.
I mean,
he'll have a little.
If they want to, they could just throw Kayshawn back there.
Yeah, always could. Especially if he's looking like he has been.
Will Derek Stingley play offense this year?
Kayshawn's
not returning kicks, dude. Kayshawn's not returning kicks. Hey, I wish, though.
Hashtag Ask Jordy. Jordy, who was worse in clock management, Edo or Les Miles? They were both horrible. Each one of them lost LSU a couple of games. We were talking about the Auburn game yesterday. We were talking about that on the air or off the air. This was last year's.
If you wonder what we do off the air, it's just the show for 24 hours a day.
Yeah, right. But that was as bad as
at the end of it.
I've ever seen.
I mean, it was a few times though last season where he would just like it would come out of a TV timeout, and then it would be like, okay, we're waiting on a play. Quarterback's looking around. He does another play.
They were still standing on the side of the field. They weren't even huddled up.
Then it was like timeout. And it's like, okay. And then they come back on the field, and they still don't have a play.
And that's how you know how dysfunctional it was between head coach and offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
They just were not like, there's no way that can happen ever.
Absolutely.
Like in the history of the game, we're like, we just had 2 minutes to like figure out this entire, at least one play.
They had 5 minutes because you get 3 minutes for the TV
timeout.
Plus like a little 2 minute.
Little squeeze of water.
Yeah. So
something.
It's too long.
ISO.
Too long to not have a play.
And then timeout.
Yeah. Coach. And then he go inside zone.
I still think Les Miles was worse.
Yeah, he was an all-timer. He's the worst maybe ever.
He is the worst ever.
I mean, he literally snapped the ball with 0 seconds
I'm telling you,
Twice.
People do not talk about this. People may not forget, but people do not talk about the week after the Ole Miss debacle. What was that, 09 or 08? Where he's like, Michael Cobble's cameras catch him telling Jordan Jefferson to spike the ball in Oxford.
Fucking caught.
And when he spikes it, the game is over. Nobody knows what's going on. The week after that, they play Arkansas at LSU. It's the night that they wore the gold helmets.
On Chad
Jones.
Decapitated him.
Chad Jones killed that guy.
Joe Adams.
He killed him.
Yeah. He decapitated him.
Decapitated him.
Destroyed the guy.
He knocked himself out, too.
Yes.
He talked about it on Mic'd Up. He's like, I was down there just seeing stars. He's like, but I know I caught him. He goes, I caught a body.
That game came down to the end. And they throw a kind of a little flat pass to Stephen Ridley, and Ridley does not get out of bounds.
Clock's running.
But the clock, for whatever reason, Miles, I'm telling you,
it's the Ole Miss game.
Not only is Miles the dumbest person of all time, he's the luckiest person of all time. He is the luckiest guy I've ever met in my entire. Now, maybe all of that is coming back on him now and kind of catching him. But, I mean, in these moments, Stephen Ridley was clearly not out of bounds. They rule him, in bounds, but for whatever reason, they stopped the clock, and where, Miles wouldn't even have known that he was mismanaging the clock in the moment. He wouldn't even have known it because he was so out of touch with what was going on. But he did it as bad as he did it at Ole Miss. The following week, he did it again. And then within a calendar year, that Tennessee stuff happened in Tiger Stadium, and they gave him a pay raise after it. I mean, it was I can't describe how frustrating and just how I was at a total loss for like leadership and people that were in charge of running businesses and companies. Like, I remember thinking, like, how does nobody see how big of a dipshit this guy is? I mean, whether it is his public, I'm sorry I'm doing this. Then I'm just banging on the guy. I'm sorry.
It's impossible.
I mean,
not
it's so
to.
far gone.
Yeah,
I know. It's so
this
far
is too
gone.
hard to
It's
just
PTSD.
not.
It's PTSD.
I
It's too
feel
hard to
almost
go-
like desperate, and it's like
No.
it's.
You're in the right place.
It's so
I
funny.
mean, here we are.
10 years
man.
later, he still hasn't
God,
got the
he
fucking
just
balls.
Still,
dude.
just.
That's what he
burned
wanted.
He's
the
got me
scored
wrapped.
lover.
He's got me wrapped.
And that's the
Voodoo.
worst of it, isn't it? Is that he's still in my he still lives in my brain. Like,
Voodoo
he-
I
barbecue.
know. I know.
this Ole Miss game, he had 30
$50
seconds
million,
left.
man.
I don't care about the money. It was
I
the-
do.
It's
I mean,
not
it's
mine.
like, how can you fail that
Far
forward?
upwards.
Hey,
Ask myself every day.
I know, right? There's a lot of people out here that just fall forward. But they're
And
falling on
LSU
their
had
ass.
3 of them in positions of power at one time.
It's still one.
F. King Alexander, Joe Oliva, and Les Miles all had a desk and an office at the same time period on the same campus, and were all yielding power. They all had power.
Here, we have this $50 million for you.
Yeah. Do you want some money?
Darren Tross, Les is gone, let it go. I'm
I know,
trying,
but
Darren.
We can't,
it's
man.
unbelievable.
Damn, I'm trying,
It's just
bro.
the fact that everybody was
God,
like,
I'm trying.
We had come so accustomed to what LSU football looked like, and everybody and their mother was like laughing
Les
laughing
Miles.
at us.
I mean,
They're
like-
I was like, but
Oh, man.
we'll still line up and
But-
win 10 games
No,
like this.
man. I think Herb Street did the SEC championship stuff to spite us. Like, I think he was like, they're
Trying to help.
like they're about to lose him. You know what I mean? Like, speak up. You know what I mean? Like, sabotaged it.
Damn it.
I
Damn
mean,
it,
really
Kurt.
and truly, if Herb Street keeps his mouth shut for 4 hours, the ghost of Les Miles is haunting Ann Arbor, not Baton Rouge.
Why wouldn't Kirk want that for? He's an Ohio State guy.
I think he thought at the time like Les Miles was too good of a coach to go to Michigan to play Ohio State. Like, that was the respect that this guy had in some circles.
You take him for a year and see what. I mean, we every day, and that's what's so funny to me
Toss
is
dive.
it was just like we knew exactly what we were going to watch every Saturday, and people were happy with it.
Toss dive,
And I was
2-man
"Kid,
routes.
We
Max
got to change
protection."
something, huh? No, this is LSU football, baby. It doesn't have to be.
You run it down their throats.
That's
when they
exactly.
have
People
to.
fell in love with it. They're like, "This is how we play. We're a hard-nosed football team."
Oh,
Yeah, until
Until you
Leonard,
play Alabama.
Yeah, until Leonard's about to win the
Oh.
Heisman, and he goes to Alabama,
God.
16 carries for 31 yards.
ugh.
the
shut down
hardest
the
31
season.
yards of his life.
Play Alabama twice in 6 weeks with the same game plan.
Ugh.
Thank
mean,
God they lost.
Wait,
though.
I mean,
like,
the circling of
Still one of the
circling
still one of the
is
best. I'm telling you,
insane.
one of the best Les Miles moments of all time was directly after that game when Bobby Hebert called him out
Oh yeah,
in the
Bobby
press
Hebert
room.
went.
But that was T-Bob's last game,
Mm-hmm.
so it was over, right? I mean, like, he was done. He didn't have to deal with it anymore, and Bobby Hebert and Miles, I mean, habitually would butt heads. I mean, just think about it. You know what I mean? Like, think about those personalities. And that was Hebert's moment in his stadium.
My
T-Bob's
people.
last game. He's a member of he's got his press pass on. You know what I mean? He's a part of the working media. I mean, like, Bonnet's like, any questions? Bobby's like, yeah, I got one in the back. You know what I mean?
Pours
Like,
the drink.
grabs the microphone. Les, what were you thinking today with the offensive game plan? And like Les would he'd try to dance. No, Les, why wouldn't you get this? Why wouldn't you do this? I remember you came out in the second half. You had Jarvis Landry running by yourself. Why didn't you go back to that? I mean, Les is just tap dancing. And like Bobby's like, we can get on a chalkboard if you want, Les. Like me and you. We can go play for play if you want. And like Bonnet's like, all right, next question. Next question, you know, like, and I mean, I'm like, get his ass! Get his ass, Bobby!
More.
I mean, like, don't take the microphone from him. Get him, Bobby!
Jordy standing back.
Yeah, I mean,
pitchfork.
like, Cajun Cannon, Cajun Cannon. I mean, just,
Let her rip.
like, just get his ass, Bobby. Get his ass.
That had to feel
man.
so good.
It had to.
Ugh.
Oh, dude, pent up for 4 years.
And then the next Alabama game is when they threw him out of the press box. So he was a marked man. He was a marked man. They threw Bobby out of the press conference. The game that ESPN, the magazine, did the entire magazine to the game. If you remember, who's our boy from Oxford? The writer. Wright Thompson. Wright Thompson covered the entire game week. And on my Instagram, I have a picture of me of Wright Thompson sitting in front of the Tiger, in front of the football ops, and I'm interviewing him like the Thursday before that game, and we run it on our radio show that night. Me and T-Bob did Off the Bench on Monday and Thursday nights, and I interviewed him, and we went straight there and played it about that was the one with Sam Montgomery and Chance Womack on the cover of it, and they looked like gladiators, bro. I mean, they look like gladiators.
Gives me chills.
Fighting.
I remember getting that ESPN the magazine
and Bobby
reading it and being like,
LSU Alabama is as big as it can be. Game, in that magazine, they quote tweet T-Bob's tweets from the game calling Miles out, because if you remember, that's the game he took the ball out of Mettenberger's hand, and they should have won it. Like, they should have won the game. But Miles handed the ball to Jeremy Hill, and that was the screen route to
TJ Yeldon.
That was Jalen Mills, true freshman. TJ Yeldon. That was Mingo diving after him on the 1 yard line. That was Zach Mettenberger's best outing that second half.
That season, for sure.
Of the season, no doubt about it. Of that year. He was killing Alabama.
And Jarvis Landry.
And Odell.
Alone in the corner.
That's when Odell was catching those out routes like with just his hands. He was like picking them away from the cornerback, like holding it up. Like he was like toying with them. Jarvis picked it off of Deion Blue's head. Picked it off of his head.
And then like
just kind of like stared at him. I mean, they were toying with Bama for a minute.
Dude, whenever he caught that pass in the corner of the end zone, the Jarvis, like that was the similar moment. Like they did it.
Oh, they're going to win.
They're going to win.
I remember Jeremy.
And I let myself think it for too long. I was just like, oh, LSU just won.
I remember the finest part of that game too in the first half. Remember J.C. Copeland,
the fullback, right before half.
Right before half, he killed that guy. But it came on a terrible play. It's when Jeremy Hill broke out into the open. And remember, he did like the high step. He started high stepping.
Did he fumble?
Oh, he didn't fumble. No. He ran it down to the goal line, and then J.C. Copeland came in there and like cleaned somebody out. And they got a 15-yarder and it backed them out of scoring territory. And like, there were so many moments in that game where they had it. They win the game. But no bigger moment at like 7 minutes left, 3rd and like 6. And Mettenberger is picking Bama apart. He is cooking. And Miles runs it straight to the middle of the line of scrimmage, gets to 4th down, kicks a field goal, kicks back off to Bama. Go right back down the field. That's the night A.J. McCarron was crying on the field. He's crying in the middle of the stadium.
He's wearing a linebacker helmet.
He was
crying on the field.
Les Miles, man.
I hated that. I hated A.J. McCarron more than anything.
Les Miles.
Stupid tattoo.
Yep.
Man. And Les got to the post-game press conference like they had won it. You know what I mean? Like that they had done something. Just bastards.
24 of 35 for 298 yards. Took it out of his hands.
Mettenberger? Look up his second half numbers that night. I don't know if you can find them, but I'm telling you, in the second half, he was nearly perfect. He was flawless, and they could not guard. Was that Dre Kirkpatrick?
Yeah.
They were killing those guys. I'm telling you, they were murdering them. Oh, God. We'll be right back with the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Oh, this game.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks.
And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Do you suffer from chronic dehydration? Are you looking to improve your athletic performance and you need to get over and see our friends over at GoFlow IV? They're located on Jefferson Highway. Easy to find them online at GEAUXFlowIV.com. Make sure and use the promo code Jordy Culotta Show. If you do, they'll take 15% off of your initial visit. Check them out online, GEAUXFlowIV.com. We've seen the BK takeover stuff from LSU and social media, and really in his short time in Baton Rouge, there's been a lot of people embracing his approach to building this roster. What's it like to recruit alongside him?
Oh, it's been great. Coach has been awesome to me because he lets me be myself when it comes to recruiting, when it comes to coaching. He lets his coaches coach, lets his coaches recruit. So I have no complaints on that end. And when I need him to get in touch with a kid, he's there for me. The communication line has been great. He's just been nothing but supportive.
Man, so kind of when I entered the transfer portal, I knew what type of facility, what type of program I wanted to go to. Being that before I committed to Ohio State, my first unofficial was to LSU.
Oh wow!
And but that was when Coach O and Court Raymond was here or whatever. But definitely the coaches, the scheme Kelly, trying to implement, his way of going, like detailed person. That's where I wanted to be. I know I want to be.
Did you have any experience with Coach Kelly?
No, I had no experience. No.
Really? Who was your main recruiter from LSU?
Sherman Wilson. Yeah, he was, stay consistent, honest, just gave it to me straight.
Yeah.
And this is where I wanted to be.
How do you feel about that number at this university playing that position?
Yeah, man, I definitely want it. I definitely want to come in and prove, to my teammates, not just the coaches, but to my teammates that I got to go play with, that I deserve it, and once I do that, then everything is up from there. Yeah.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha,
Malik Neighbors,
Miles Frazier,
Kyron Lacy,
Greg Brooks. Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team. Make a difference.
Bet. Let's get it done.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready.
I remember Joe Brady told me when he was first on the job, and then Jamar Cain told us the same thing yesterday, is that you love the recruiting part of football.
I do.
Where does that come from?
It's just, you love these kids and you love to see it. And it goes back, Jordy, when I was a kid. I remember I was working concessions at LSU, and I would see young couples bring their child there and just stare up at Tiger Stadium, and I know what was going on. It was the aspiration that this kid went to LSU and how special it was.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're in this business, is for these kids. And you like doing these things, and you love seeing how and what it does to them. Because LSU changed me. It was a transformational place for me, and it was just so special. And you see that in these kids once they come in, and you get to know them and you get to know their family, and it just becomes, almost intoxifying,
Sure.
you're intoxicated by it, and you can't help it. And, laughing and looking at this one, that was a special player, Dirty 30. I mean, man, that dude could ball, and I loved messing with him. I remember when he was a kid. He's a grown man now. And you see these things, and you just wish him well. And these guys are scattered through my life, and whether they're doctors or successful business people or educators or just doing great things in the community. I just go through and back, back and forth through the names of guys you run into, you just make you smile. You know, I stay in touch with Matt Malk. I stay in touch with, Dr. Henry Barham, who was a walk-on here, and I see these guys all the time. Brady James, obviously Booger and Marcus being in your business. You know, it's great to see Ryan Clark. These guys were kids when I know them. I was kind of a kid too.
Sure.
But it was fun, and that's what's so rewarding about it. And you know that this place, LSU and Louisiana, takes care of our future I would say future citizens of this community, and there's nothing like it. I mean, you even see Shaq talking about how important LSU was to building his brand and what he was about, and it's just different.
Derek Matthews, my 5-year-old, is with me on the way to school right now. Jordy says they are killing them. They were murdering them. And without hesitation, she says, oh, that's not good. They're going to jail. That's right, they are, and they should send Les Miles to jail. Tell everybody at school today how much you can't stand the Les Miles era of LSU football. And tell your dad thank you for listening.
Yeah.
And what type of school's going on right now? Christian Crochet, damn, y'all be more triggered about Les Miles than a Vietnam vet on 4th of July. I know it's
the
sad.
same thing. Yeah, absolutely PTSD. Ruined my life.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it was 5 years of when it was just so bad. Mm-hmm. After, from 2012 on, was just like, oh, no. 7 years.
Pretty much all
5 years.
Every year of high school, I just watched LSU.
If he gets away with the Auburn win, where they don't go back and review it, he's not fired.
Probably not, but at that point,
I mean, it had to end like that.
It was done.
Poetic justice.
Yeah. I mean, I really do believe
the
last 2 or 3 weeks, it was
back of the end zone.
It was trending in the wrong direction.
Got 2 feet in too.
He did.
They did get 2 feet in. Is that Danny Etling?
Yeah,
Danny Etling.
I was watching that game on the sidelines, working for Northwestern State. I had it on my phone, and I should
jumping
not
up and down.
I should not have been doing that at all. We were playing right in front of me. I was like, I could not care less about that.
I don't care about
that. That's how you get hurt.
A fist pumping. I was like, they're like, what are you? It's a timeout right now. I was like, oh, not this game, dude. This game.
Yeah.
And I was like,
damn about this
he didn't
game.
get the playoff. I was like, they didn't get it off.
Yeah, you watch it one time.
And I was like, of course, chuck that, gone. Get this thing out my hand.
Yeah, right.
God bless. Good luck at school today.
Just tell them about Les. Crazy story on Marion Barber. If you remember this story a couple of weeks ago, on June 1st, former Dallas Cowboys bruising running back Marion Barber was found. He was found dead inside of his apartment complex, and his autopsy has been returned, and Marion Barber died of a heat stroke. The autopsy report obtained by TMZ said in the documents, officials say Barber's body was found in his residence where the thermostat was set at 91 degrees and the heat was set to on. Investigators noted that there was exercise equipment present at the scene and said that Barber did, in fact, have a history of exercising during sauna-like conditions. According to the report, there was no evidence of trauma, no drug overdose found inside of Barber's body, and no clear evidence of natural disease found either. In a separate Frisco police report, the incident also obtained by TMZ said officers said Barber had not been seen for around 3 weeks prior to his discovery of his body on June 1st.
Maybe the best 5-yard run of all time with the Dallas Cowboys when he's out
zigzagging?
of his own end zone.
Yeah.
He was, Marion the Barbarian wasn't
that against the Patriots?
Maybe, I don't know, but I just remember that he would not, first contact, you ain't getting Marion Barber down. He ran so hard. He was a force in the backfield.
I remember initially when I heard this story, and sorry for assuming, but I really did think that there was going to be, and it may not be, they may not run the test for it yet, but if you watched Marion Barber play, he ran with a style that tends to think and made me, honestly, my first instinct when I heard that he was found deceased was that it was going to have some type of CTE implications on it just because of the way that he played the game. I mean, he was a bruising, banging style of running back that would bounce off of NFL players with his head. I mean, when I see Marion Barber right now running in my head, I see him curled over, sprinting full speed into a safety and almost like using his shoulders and head and neck to bounce off of an NFL player like a battering ram almost. Is
that
the
man
way
wanted the end zone more than anybody.
He did, man. I mean, he must have been hell to tackle because of just how fast, mean, and he was coming to hit you. But this is a crazy story, man. I mean, and I don't know if they've done the proper testing and all of that stuff.
I think you're probably right to speculate just because, like you said, his running style, and then Des Bryant has voiced concern about him for almost a year, saying he's not right. He saw him at a gas station one time. He's like, he doesn't look like, I didn't even recognize him. And so he's saying that like he's been trying to voice concern for Barber for well over a year, and so obviously it might have some CTE implications, and that's it's the dirty side of the NFL that pops up every now and again.
I mean, working out in a
Yeah.
room
And look,
like
man,
sauna-like conditions.
I was in Central Texas 2 weeks ago.
It's 150
And
degrees.
I can't imagine putting the interior on 90 degrees and
working
doing some
out.
type of physical activity, and then there would be nowhere to go to get fresh air because the outside heat in
worse.
Texas is, I mean, it's not comparable to Louisiana because of the humidity, but it's as just effective in the way that it hits you. I mean, it's almost crazy. Like it's hotter at 5:30 in Texas than it is at like 2:30, and I mean it's just a heat all day that you cannot run from. You can't get away from it. So I mean, if you got your residence thermometer boosted up to 91 degrees, I mean that's
a special
bro,
breakout. You can't breathe, no doubt. Yeah, that's tough.
Phillips Clinton says, hashtag Ask Jordy, does John Emery get 1,000 yards this season if he stays healthy? Price ran for 1,100 last season. I really think he does. I do. I mean, every outlet that I've been on that asks about, do we have Coach McMahon?
No, this is
okay.
Nice.
He's over there watching.
Keep your eyes open for Coach, and let me know. Phillips Clinton about John Emery. Everywhere that I go, people ask me kind of, the offseason. We'll be at SEC Media Days next week. Really looking forward to that. We'll be with our partners over at WAFB. Jacques will be there representing them. I'll be doing the show. We'll be sending back the show between 7 and 9 a.m., but we'll also have some cool programming throughout the day that you'll be able to follow. So make sure that you're following us for SEC Media Days next week. But everybody that I've been asked about outside of the market about LSU football this upcoming season, people want a player. Who's going to break out? Who's going to be the guy? I go John Emery every time because I really do believe that Emery is set to be the centerpiece of this offense that has a ton of weapons on it, right? I mean, you probably or most probably have one of the most electric wide receivers, if not the biggest playmaker at wide receiver in the sport in Kayshon Boutte. You've got guys around him that are big-time playmakers all over the place. Obviously, you're going to see what happens with this offensive line, but I think that John Emery's the centerpiece. I think that he's the guy that they're going to depend on to really balance them, to be a big-time game breaker, a big-time playmaker for them, and really, it feels like he's set to do that. I mean, it feels as if he's set for a season that he could bust out, man. He really does. I feel like John Emery absolutely can run for 1,000 yards. I feel like he could probably catch it for somewhere around 400 to 500 yards. I mean, he can have 6 or 7 touchdowns through the air. No telling how many he can account for on the ground. I just think that I'll never forget, and I brought this up. I brought it up when Emery was here, but Joe Brady, his first year that he was here, his only year that he was at LSU, obviously they were recruiting John Emery in 2018, and once he got here as a true freshman, he got into that running back room, and he was a guy that was very if you remember, he got a couple of carries versus Georgia State. In the first game, he played. He almost scored a touchdown. And Joe Brady said to T-Bob and I went and met him for lunch one day, and he said that John Emery reminds him of a young Alvin Kamara that is big, strong, and physical, and he's got this freaky athleticism.
But a finesse to his game.
But he's got this glide to him that makes him look like, yeah, man, it's very easy for him. Yeah, football is very easy. Comes to him very easily. Now, he's got some stuff that he's got to work through and he's got to get right. But the football part of it is very easy for John Emery. And I think that he's got all of that other stuff. And we talked to him here, man, about a month and a half ago. And if you missed the conversation, check it out. It's awesome. Brought back to you by R&B Builders. Our friends at R&B can build you a custom design home, but they also bring back our podcast. And John Emery was here a couple of weeks ago, and you can see, man, his head's right. He's in a good place. I mean, he's really kind of focused in on what next year. Look, man, it's the end of the line for him as far as proving his capability and value to an NFL franchise. And I think if 4 years ago, you would have told John Emery that you'd be in the position going into your senior season where you got to prove yourself. I don't know if he'd have believed that. I don't know if anybody would have believed that, thinking back to the recruit that he is. But now here he is in that position, and I think he's got his back up against the wall. And I think that we see the best John Emery that we can imagine. I think that he's going to be fantastic. And, barring anything that happens, that keeps him off the field from a health standpoint, I really think that Emery is set to have an all-SEC type season. I really do.
Where do you see the splits in the backfield? Do you think it'll be mostly what do you see the division of labor, I guess, between the running back room?
I think he's going to be the primary guy, and I think he's going to get the bulk of the carries each game. But I think that Noah Cain is a guy that they want to trust, and I think he's easy to trust right now. He's doing all of the things right, and I think when you saw him here, I mean, he's a leader. You know what I mean? And Noah Cain also, he cares about the stuff that you rarely see college kids care about in the game. Like, he's been eating right for 4 years now.
Oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you, too. What does he look? Adonis, right?
Oh, man. I mean, he looks, yeah, absolutely. And same goes for Emery. Emery started to pay attention, but I think that's when you usually see, kind of late in your college, you're like, I need to start paying attention to, all the pros that come back say that they are eating well, like they're paying attention to that stuff. Maybe I should start paying attention. Like, Cain's been doing that stuff for a while now. He's
chicken and rice.
IMG.
Yeah, he's advanced. He's advanced. So I think those two, obviously Armani Goodwin is going to come in to the mix. I think Trey Bradford.
They really like him.
They really do. Because of his versatility.
Yeah, he's great out the backfield.
Went to go get him again.
Huh? Well, he kind of came back.
Yeah. If you love it, let it go. If it comes back, it's yours.
Exactly. Right.
Found his way home.
Yeah.
Airbud.
All right, we're going to have Matt McMahon coming up here in a couple of minutes. We'll get you set up for that. Remember, if you've got any type of question for the coach, we'll talk to him about it coming up here in a couple of minutes. Coach Matt McMahon, LSU head basketball coach, talking a little bit about the offseason. George the Greek, hashtag Ask Jordy, do you still talk to Will Wade? Talked to Coach Wade Monday morning. Yep, Monday morning. Invited him to the wedding for Kelly and I when I talked to him.
What a pull. Speaking of eating right.
Yeah, Willie's in. Life is, I will say this, Willie misses the game, man. Willie misses the grind of it, the recruiting aspect, obviously, of it, and that right now this is the hunk of that season, the bulk of that season, right now in recruiting and team building and all that stuff. So he misses that part of it. I will tell you this, that he invested very well over the last couple of years and has really got some cool stuff going on. He invested in a couple of former players of his over at VCU, or it might actually have been at Tennessee Chattanooga. That they got a really cool business going on. I won't go too much into it, but he's got a lot of, he's staying busy. He's working. He's networking. He's just kind of waiting on the NCAA to give him, what hopefully is a fair hearing to see what his life is going to be like within college athletics. But yes, doing cool. He's doing good. He's doing well. All right, we will talk to his predecessor, his replacement, Matt McMahon, next here. And Coach McMahon had a hell of a task when he was introduced on the job back in April, and to see where that program is now with the players, the staffers, the coaches, and everything going on. We'll ask him all about it here in his first offseason down in Baton Rouge. We'll ask about recruiting future classes, too, here on the Jordy Culotta Show. So coming up, we will talk to head basketball coach Matt McMahon coming up here as we are driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. And remember, daily we're brought to you by our friends over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works, number one and a number two business, and they have no social media. They've got no website. You got to take the number down at 225-776-2431, 225-776-2431. Mention the Jordy Culotta Show and get 15% off the bottom line over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. We'll come back. Matt McMahon, head basketball coach, next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Yeah, like always, and Jordy, I've told you this, and I've told everyone that I know too well, is that, in the words of Abraham Lincoln, things become self-evident. And, having to make a change became self-evident.
Yes, sir.
As much as we love Coach O and what he does and how he does it, and that special year he gave us in 2019, which will probably go down as the greatest football team in the history of college football, it just wasn't going, those next 2 years the way that we wanted it to go. And, we came to that conclusion, and that was one of those things that they're hard because, I love Coach O, and I love his two sons, and I've gotten to know him, three sons, gotten to know him well, and
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show. Summer League basketball happening in the NBA right now, and Darius Days shelled out last night for the San Antonio Spurs as Days had 13 and 10 last night in the Summer League. He was going up against the Houston Rockets and Tari Eason. Eason has been on fire here to start the Summer League play, and last night a big win for Houston in Summer League, and Tari finished with 22 and 10, 22 points, 10 boards. He also had 3 assists, 2 steals, a couple of blocks. He finished 9 of 16 from the field and hit 2 of 3 from behind the arc. So a nice showing for the LSU draftees that are, or at least Eason being drafted and Days being picked up by San Antonio. Good things happening for LSU basketball, including off the floor right now for the current team. Some social media has come out on some team building stuff that's happening. And Matt McMahon, the last time he's here, talked about, look, huge success in recruiting. They did a really good job in the transfer portal and keeping some guys intact in Baton Rouge, but now it was time to build the team. Let's check in with him, the head basketball coach here on this Tuesday morning. Always good to see you, man. How are you? Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Jordy. Got to say shout out to Derek Fountain, turning 20 today for the Tigers. So excited to be here with you, though, this morning.
Nice. Derek came through here a couple of weeks back, man. A really good guy that is now in the program and a part of that team-building process, Coach, that you and I talked about the last time you were here. Obviously, we've seen a little social media come out from your program, but how is this part of the operation going?
It's been a lot of fun, Jordy. Love the guys that we have in the program. This summer, as you and I have talked about, trying to establish a foundation for what we want the program to be about, not only this summer, years ahead. And so I think a big part of that is establishing the culture and camaraderie of the team. And so I definitely hope we're a lot better at basketball than we are at bowling. But it's been a lot of fun to do some of those things off the floor.
Who's the best cook on the team?
I don't think we had one. I hate to say that. Coach Hamilton on the grill probably be top 2. Player-wise, we got a lot of work to do.
Speaking of the work, Coach, what goes into this part of the process? I know that you mentioned you guys did a bang-up job in recruiting, but what does this part of the calendar really look like as far as the team building goes?
Well, we're halfway through the summer program. We get 8 weeks with our players on the court, and the way meetings and all those different things. So, I think offensive and defensive schemes and all those things are important. But it's a lot more about getting to know each other. You have 13 new players, some entire new coaching staff. I think those things summer, but it's been a fun group. Guys are working extremely hard. We've done a mix of individual position group workouts, and also some full team workouts now as we enter the second half of the summer.
You able to find some of your leaders this early on in this part of the process?
Jordy, that's a great question. That's one thing I challenged our players with yesterday at the conclusion of our workout. I think that's going to be critical. I think we've always heard that player-led teams will be much more successful than coach-led teams. And so it's early. I think way too early to tell. There certainly are some good candidates. When you look at guys like Adam Miller and Wani Wilkinson and Justice Williams who have been here, you look at some of our older and experienced transfers who have come in, really going to continue to challenge those guys to step forward and become a voice of the team.
I really thought the most impressive part of your recruiting and the success that you had was the way that you were able to put together a balanced team, a team that's very strategically, it looks like on paper, put together as a balanced basketball team. Having the opportunity to see them on the floor, what do you see from your group here early on?
Well, I love a lot of things about our team with the character of the group. I think we've had guys who've worked extremely hard. It's been a low-maintenance group so far. But recruiting classes and teams always look good on paper and highlight films.
Sure.
So we got a long, long way to go. I think we returned 5 points a game, one of the lowest returning college basketball. So we've got to really work extremely hard. I told our guys yesterday, I think we're 250 days from the season being over. So things are going to get moving here quick. We've got to pick up the pace of how the second half of the summer, because college basketball has changed in so many ways. First day of practice, now it's September 28th. So things are speeding up, and we got a lot of work that's got to get done.
You mentioned Adam Miller and some of his leadership qualities. Obviously, Tiger fans were looking forward to watching him play last season, and 23 points a game will, I know, be a much invited, welcoming prospect to you with Miller returning. How have you seen him bounce around on that knee since being cleared early in the spring?
He's an elite shooter, Jordy, with deep range, very skilled basketball player. My favorite part about him is how smart and how competitive. He's still not cleared for live 5-on-5 play, so I know he's anxious to do that, but we want to continue to be patient there. But I've been really impressed with his work ethic. And as I mentioned, that basketball IQ is really off the charts.
Coach, you mentioned it, but how much do these days matter for January, February, March, and what you're trying to do, not only here in just year one, but just every year into building a team?
Jordy, it's a great question, and one thing we're working through right now. I really, in the past, have preferred the spring and summer just to be about player development, the weight room, the one-on-one individual works, and so forth. But when you walk into a unique situation like this, with so many new players and coaches, we've had to change that strategy a little bit and spend a lot more time on the team. And I think that's going to be for us. So every day is valuable. 8 hours a week is certainly not enough time for us to get to where we want to go. So, then after that, you're relying on doing a good job in recruiting players who have the game and who are going to live in the gym, who are going to invest unbelievable amounts of time and getting better and improving and building the relationships with their teammates. So I think those unseen hours are going to be every bit as important as the 8 hours a week we're allowed to work with our guys right now.
Recruiting never stops from your seat, I know. But does it feel like you have caught up to at least now recruiting alongside your competition? You've got your current roster intact in order, and now kind of looking towards future classes. And if so, how is that message being sent and being on the road, obviously representing LSU?
Well, it's a great honor to be on the road representing LSU. One of the many reasons I'm here. I'm a big believer in the power of those three letters of the brand across college sports. I think for us, really trying to get a class of 2024 is going to be critical for today's landscape. And then coming into it from the spring, you're doing a little bit of catch-up work in the class of 2023.
Yeah.
But I'm excited on the players we're involved with and come to campus for these football weekends in the fall.
I know that you are a featured speaker at the high school coaching clinic that's coming up here in the city in a few weeks. How has it been getting adjusted to, I guess, South Louisiana and Baton Rouge? Have you even had time to get settled in?
No, not really, but it's been awesome. Absolutely love it. People have been great, so welcoming. It's been awesome getting to meet a lot of the high schools in the area, and I'll get to do that again tomorrow morning at the State Association Clinic. So that'll be a lot of fun. But a lot of those things, the bottom line is I am an outsider. I'm not from here. I've followed LSU over 3 decades, so I feel like I have a good feel for it. But that's how you try and build your staff, and that's where having a guy like who's been to the Final Four at LSU, who's one of the honorary mayors of Baton Rouge, Jeff Moore, who knows that every person in the state of Louisiana has coached in this state for 40 or 50 years. And Casey Long, who came with us from Murray State, was born here in the state of Louisiana. So I thought that was really important to have that on our staff.
Coach, we've heard the football guys come through here and some of the coaches talk about the emphasis and how important the nutrition part of their program has been taken in and received from the players here at this part of the process. How much do you use that part of the organization that LSU offers?
I was blown away, Jordy.
Yeah.
I eat every meal over there that I can at that nutrition center. It's unbelievable. 5-star meals every day. So we're really fortunate to have it and making sure our players understand the benefit of having that. Those resources. I mean, we have Kayla Law, nutritionist, dietitian, goes above and beyond the call of duty to design the meal programs. I think having an entire performance team here at LSU is really amazing. You have your strength and conditioning coach, you have a mental health coach, you have your nutritionist, you have the resources and nutrition. And really just making sure as a coaching staff, we do a good job of educating our players on the benefits of those things and to take advantage of those opportunities. And the coaches as well, because it is a good meal, Jordy. You have to come join us one night.
I'm in. It's good to see you, man. Keep up the hard work. I know time right now is very crucial for your program, so look forward to talking to you again soon.
Can't wait, Jordy. Really appreciate your time. And as always, go Tigers.
You got it, man. Good to see you. There he is, head coach Pat McMahon, checking in from his office this morning as LSU basketball right now in the roster building and team building phase of his first season. And you can hear it, man. A lot of energy. People were asking for a kind of a personality description on Coach McMahon, and he and I sat right next to each other at the Louisiana High School Basketball Association. Kind of wraps up the year, and I was able to MC that event a couple of weeks back over at the Baton Rouge Marriott. It brought in basketball coaches from all over the state, all of the college coaches, a bunch of the high school coaches, players. Kenny Lofton Jr. was in the room that night, who absolutely ate up Chet Holmgren from Oklahoma
Two different
City.
body types there.
It was. That looks like that's kind of the kryptonite to Chet is if you can find somebody like Lofton. Lofton seems like he's kind of a unique, one-of-a-kind type player, but he was in the room that night because he was honored as the College Basketball Player of the Year in the state. But Coach McMahon sat right next to me as I was kind of getting up and kind of keeping the thing on time and on task. But he and I were able to just kind of sit there and go back and forth and not really talk hoop, but just kind of go and talk, food in Baton Rouge and the community and stuff. But you get an idea of he's very measured in his approach, the way that he kind of carries himself. He's very balanced and cool, and in the way that he presents himself. But you can feel it boiling underneath of this. He's very intense in the sense of I can even go back to, we had a moment here the first or second time we had him on the air. Man, we were struggling to get the feed on, and it kind of felt like we were kind of slipping and falling and tripping all over ourselves, but we were able to kind of get it right back at the end of it. But you could see in that 20 seconds where it was kind of hanging in the balance of this might not work out, you could see his intensity of like, I got to stay on time. This is not going to work for me. If you guys can't get this figured out, if you can't get your technical difficulties figured out, I got to move on, right? Like, I mean, you can, being in this position, you can kind of judge that by, some people would be like, look, take your time. Well, it's all good. Don't worry about it. We'll work with you. And some people are like, buddy,
I'm on a schedule.
You're in a window right now, and if you can't keep me in mind, I got to dump you. You know what I mean? So you better get this stuff figured out. And you could get that idea when you were sitting next to him, or at least I was sitting next to him that night at the association's banquet. But I do believe that we talk about Brian Kelly being the right guy for the right time in the job. I believe the same thing with Matt McMahon and LSU. I think it's it's very impressive, needless to say, what he's been able to do in such a short time with the challenge that he faced in front of him. I don't know if we'll ever be able, and that's one regret I have with Woodward, and we'll get him back on and we'll dive more into it in a future conversation, maybe even closer to basketball season, on just tell me what Matt McMahon did. You know what I mean? Like, we've never seen anything like this. And it's not just like LSU fans. I don't think that intercollegiate athletics has ever seen someone at a Power 5 conference at a Division I school with a reputable program take over a job with two players, legitimately, like two scholarship players, and be able to kind of fish one back in Adam Miller. But I mean, Justice Williams and Mwani Wilkinson were the only two that he was able to really hang on to, and then obviously he was able to recruit Miller back. But I mean, after that, he had to totally rebuild a college basketball roster in a very short time. And not only did he do it, he did it with incredible vision and focus. And it'll be interesting to see how it plays out on the floor in year one. But just by what he's accomplished up to this point,
That Zach Wilson meme him heading to training camp. It's a cougar in the car. It's so good, dude. Sorry.
But I mean, I just can't wait to see how he plays out.
Obviously, it's one of those. It's kind of in the same vein. I know he doesn't have the same skins on the wall that BK has, but it's kind of in the same vein of let's get this thing right. Like, I mean, for better or for worse, Bill Wade, like that. When the NCAA comes knocking on your door, things aren't, as tight as they probably should be, and whether LSU should have handled it the way they did, that's up for debate, but you had to bring in almost like a fixer. Like, all right, this guy's, he knows how to run a program, he's going to run it the right way, and he can coach a little bit of basketball, but it seemed like they put priority on the front end as opposed to like, let's get this thing straight, have a program that's run clean, do it the right way, and then, we'll see what, like the basketball, as a coach, he'll be able to take you where he takes you, but it seems like Woodward kind of prioritized, let's get the LSU brand back, let's get the four walls right,
No doubt. And from a basketball standpoint, as we told you, the Summer League games last night, Rockets beat San Antonio 97-84. Tari Eason again balling out, 22-10, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 9-16 from the field, was 2 of 3 from behind, 3-point line. Darius Days played 24 minutes for the Spurs last night. He grabbed 11 rebounds and scored 13 points.
Dirty work.
Pelicans last night, 101-73 winners. Trey Murphy was the high scorer there as he scored 33 in 30 minutes.
Shooter.
Last night he was on.
Oh, did you see Brandon Ingram come up behind him when he was doing his post game? He goes, they ain't playing no defense in the Summer League. Don't gas him up. But it showed, I mean, the team's got some, like, they got chemistry. They all like each other. So it's cool. Beyond didn't have to be there,
Yeah, right out. Dyson Daniels obviously kept out of Summer League play. after rolling his ankle in game 1. But the other rookie who played last night, E.J. Liddell, look, man, by no means am I saying that E.J. Liddell is going to be a starter, maybe even not even be a guy that comes off the bench right now. But I know this. Last night, 6 points in 13 minutes, had 4 rebounds, and was 3 of 3 from the field. You know, like, hey, man, go in there and don't screw it up.
We'll take that.
You know, go be high energy. Absolutely. I think I saw his plus minus was like plus 13 with him on the floor. I mean, that's a good sign of just what the Pelicans are and kind of the way that they've drafted are guys that can specifically help you in key roles. And Liddell doesn't look like he's, going to, light the scoring and stat sheet up. But
he knows his role.
The 8-12 minutes that he could possibly log during the game, he goes out there and keeps it steady. Man. Nice second-round draft pick.
Grab a few boards.
Absolutely.
A few assists.
That's the thing. It feels like the Pels are at a spot where they're able to like almost plug and play, and like people know their specific role. Like everybody has like a slot where they fit in on the team, as opposed to we need a superstar, we need this. Like they're not rebuilding. They are absolutely at the point where they have like projected players to go like, all right, this is your role. You do this for 10, 12 minutes. Like the way that they're constructed, it seems to be that they're not looking. They didn't have to go draft somebody to go save the franchise.
Yeah.
It was all right. Now you're able to re-sign Zion. Bi turned into a superstar during the playoffs. You have balance at point guard with C.J. McCollum, and then everybody else like Trey Murphy is a perfect like spot up 3-point shooter. Herb Jones knows he's a defensive specialist. Like Valanciunas knows he's going to get 15 rebounds and 12 points a game. Like they all have like a role. The way the team is built seems pretty much how you would like an NBA team that's built for a playoff run.
Scott Oldham says he lives in Memphis, and the city is in love with Kenny Lofton
No doubt.
Jr. No doubt about it. He'll be a fan favorite, man. Who was the big guy they had there for so long? Was it Zach Randolph that spent a lot of time in Memphis?
Zach Randolph. Bullies
after
get bullied.
his time in Portland? I love Zach Randolph.
Bullies get bullied. Where I'm from.
Zach Randolph was so good at Michigan State.
Bro, whenever the Grindhouse was the Grindhouse.
Yes, it was.
Who was it?
Randolph.
Parker? All team first defense. Tony Allen.
Tony Allen.
Well, dude, that place was an absolute
Allen.
terror to go into.
He used to give Kobe hell.
That's what he said. That's all he would say. All team first defense.
Yeah.
Like this man knows his role, and he is
Who else
a
were on
menace.
those teams? Was an old Jason Williams on those teams? No, he was a young Vancouver point guard.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Williams was old with like the Miami Heat.
Yeah,
like
55.
Shaq and them. Yeah,
Yeah, that title run.
He could still play. Gary Payton could still play.
Yeah,
GP.
A little thick.
Thick. Still talking shit.
Oh man, you talk about Gary Payton. It was the.
Did you see the Kobe and Gary Payton yesterday at the 2000 All-Star game where Gary Payton was teaching Kobe defensive moves, and the camera just caught on him? See if you can find it on social media. It was all over Twitter yesterday, but it was at the 2000 All-Star game, and Gary Payton is like teaching Kobe how to like use his body to defend on the perimeter. I mean, he's like go, and you can see like Kobe's like asking intent, like eyeballs not blinking at Gary Payton,
soaking
questions.
this up.
Yeah, just I mean, such a no doubt. Scott Oldham, Mike Conley, Mark Gasol. Those teams were awesome, dude.
Do you remember Mike Conley? Mark Gasol.
Was Mike Conley the 3rd overall pick? I think he was the 3rd pick behind Durant and Odin, behind Odin and Durant.
Oh, I don't know.
Because he was on the Ohio State team with Odin.
Yeah, I feel like
they were AAU. They were AAU.
I feel like he's so much older than that. But
where's Conley now? Utah.
Yeah. Then Utah thought that was the piece. I felt like that was a great move for them to be able to get Mike Conley. But
Ainge is trading Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now they're in total rebuild mode. Ainge is going to do exactly what Ainge does.
I think they're going after
this video you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at the Froco, man. I love Date.
Froby?
What a powerful moment. Like, in the middle of the All. Look at KG behind him.
I watched the Stephon Marbury Netflix documentary yesterday.
Starberry?
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Is he still playing in China?
He's done.
He's done?
He was done in like 2018.
He was a legend.
Yeah, I mean, he played for a long time, Gus.
He got the original cheap kicks, dude. You go to Walmart, get you some Starberries.
Right.
Well, the reason they fell off was because LeBron said, "I ain't never wearing no $20 shoes." and after that,
didn't realize what he was doing.
The sales
Stock line just,
oh no!
Damn it, LeBron.
Starberry probably hates him now. Man, I was cooking with these $20 Crocs.
Scott Oldham said he was the 4th pick. Who was the 3rd pick in that draft? I remember it was Oden was 1. Durant was 2. Conley was 4.
Yi, the Chinese guy.
No.
Yeah.
way.
Oh no, Al Horford. Yi went 6th.
And
The Bucks. I remember that.
Look at Al Horford, still kicking it.
I just can't believe that they're all kind of this like. Al
Same
Horford's
age.
only 2 years older than Kevin Durant.
How many championships? Has Horford won a championship? No, this was his first finals.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I was going to argue who's had a better career, Durant or Horford.
So he's only 2 years older than Kevin Durant.
I know it feels
And
like.
he feels like he's like.
Well, he stayed
40.
all 4 years.
No, he left as a junior.
He left as a junior.
KD
Okay.
left as a freshman.
Right.
So.
Yeah, 2 years
see.
difference.
He's 36. KD just doesn't
I mean,
feel old
Horford
yet.
completely changed his game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
KD's
I mean,
He
33.
was like a back-to-the-basket guy at Florida.
He was old
He's
basketball.
like an old man now.
I mean, he was back to the basket 4 years ago.
It was Corey Brewer
Corey Brewer,
Joakim.
Noah,
and Al Horford.
And Al Horford.
They
But
went back
had
to
one, They
back.
had one more. Yeah, they won back-to-back. They won it the year LSU went to the Final Four.
Mm-hmm. And then they all three came back and won it again.
Did LSU beat that team in the regular
Yeah,
season?
they did. I was at that
They
game.
did beat them in the regular
Mhm.
season.
I went to
Here.
that game. Yeah.
Yeah, right. On like a Saturday afternoon.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Me,
And then I want to
Lede,
say,
Mom and Dad.
I do want to say that they played them twice that year. That they may have gone
to Florida.
to
Didn't they
Florida,
get
and,
wiped?
and maybe Tyrus got hurt.
Okay.
Tough day.
Bakers are here. Happy birthday to the Bakers.
Oh, happy birthday, Baker. Baker's
Absolutely.
dozen.
Absolutely.
Yi Jalen, where is he right now? Corey Brewer went 7th. They had 2 people in the top 10. Al Horford and Corey Brewer.
Where'd Brewer go?
I think the Timberwolves, if I want to.
Yeah, Timberwolves.
Yep.
Yep.
Brain still works.
Incredibly.
I know. For what I've done to this thing. Sorry.
Torture.
Damn. Scott Oldham. Grizzlies had Kyle Lowry and Mike Conley on the same team, and the Grizzlies kept Conley over Lowry.
I would have kept Conley over Lowry.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
Kyle Lowry's still a little thick, too.
He ain't going to fit in that heat culture. Cuz.
You know, you saw that his contract went void because his body fat went over the agreed amount in his contract.
Oh, wow.
What do you think that is? 18%?
I don't know.
20%?
Yeah,
I was going to say, it can't
You know
be.
what though? I did my men's total health.
I
They
need to
have a
get
machine. They have a machine that you can do your
Body
BMI.
scan?
You can do like your body mass index. You can do your total body fat,
It's a
and
tough day.
it is. I mean, you got to be ready for it.
Yeah.
You got to be ready for
It's
it.
going to be higher than you think.
Yeah.
And the thing, did it start going up and then trickle down?
15% total fat for your
Oh,
body.
let's go.
Doc said I need to be at 17. Like that's where you like
sweet spot.
Kind of like the sweet spot.
I wouldn't believe
He
that.
said like
Let's get down to-
world class athletes are somewhere around like 11.
Yeah, that's going to say, let's get down to single digits.
I think the lowest I've been is like 14.
Yeah.
But did yours go up, and then trickle back down? That's what happened when
I
I,
didn't
did
see
it.
him like reading. Like mine was like done with like sensors on hands and feet. Like my feet went on a plate.
And your hands,
And then,
did you
like,
grab
your
like
hands-
a thing?
yeah, you grab a thing.
Yeah, that's what mine did. They have it at the F45, and I was like, it went up to like 17, 18, and then it went down to 17.5. I was like, oh, let's go down a little bit more. And I just kind of hung at 16, and I was like, okay, that's not
I will
terrible.
take
But
that.
when it hit 18, I was like, oh god, it's like sucking in a little bit.
I got to be in the gym a little more.
Yeah.
You have another session today?
It's a terrible feeling getting on the scale, dude. You're just like, I don't know. I just look at myself. I don't feel
You're too vain,
this
bro.
isn't good.
Yeah.
Too vain.
See, I don't worry about it anymore. I got fat for a time, and then like
I got fat
lost a
once.
lot of
That's what
weight,
it
and I was
takes.
Yeah. Well, you got to be comfortable fat.
See, I
Once you get comfortable fat, it's
No,
over.
it's the worst.
Yeah, I wasn't
It's
comfortable
over.
at all.
Well, that's good.
Sweating everywhere
That's
you
good.
go.
Yeah.
You still
start
got that,
popping the
you still got
t-shirt
that
a lot.
drive.
Yeah.
You still got that drive. Yeah, when you start pulling on the t-shirt,
Oh,
you're in
so
trouble.
Oh yeah, it's
Whoa.
over. It's cooked.
You're in trouble.
You start feeling
You're
your
in
sweat on your
trouble,
sweat, like
yeah.
it's
Oh,
dripping
God.
on another roll, and you're
Yeah,
like,
like,
Go to run right now.
Yeah,
I feel
100%.
I feel the sweat dripping down my roll right now.
You
I
can
don't
feel like
it.
your fat's touching your fat. You're like, I'm disgusting, dude. Let's get this thing right.
I need to go to the gym right now.
The thing is, it's only your fault. That's what kills me. It's like I did this to me.
Yeah. Oh,
no doubt.
Like it's just you didn't get it.
Just eating too much.
Just stopped for a month.
Yeah. See, I got fat because I was eating Cane's at 10 a.m.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
How?
Like I'd go to class, go to
Damn.
Cane's.
And
That
was it your freshman year?
yeah, freshman.
You really don't realize
You
what
drink
you're-
soft drinks?
I used to, but not really that
Yeah.
much anymore.
I mean, that's 10 off the top right there. If you
No
can cut that out
doubt.
of the diet.
Yeah, not in. Yeah.
Big tea guy, big tea and like
Sweet?
lemonade guy.
Sweet
I
tea?
like lemonade more
Sweet
than tea.
tea? Lemonade. I mean, that's
It's
Yeah,
just as bad.
still
It's
a lot of
soft
sugar.
drink.
might as well be carbonated.
Yeah, might as well put vodka in it. Make
Tequila,
it good. Yeah.
tequila
Ooh.
and lemonade.
That sounds
That's the
fire.
move. Milo's. Show you
Milo's,
a trick.
yeah.
Milo's tea and tequila. Milo's lemonade and tequila.
Oh, wow.
10 out of 10
awesome.
drink.
Let's go to Katie's. Call this thing a day.
Remember Dead Soxy? Our promo code Jordy over there will save you 15% anytime. DeadSoxy.com. Always have the custom design socks. They also have the low cut socks that you're looking for here in the summer months. Check them out online at DeadSoxy.com. Promo code Jordy for 35% off over there at DeadSoxy.com. DeadSoxy.com is where you can find them. We'll be back and close it out here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Best athlete to come out of New Iberia, Mark Roman?
Kayshawn Booty.
Kayshawn? Wow.
Right now, Kayshawn, and Mark was a little bit before me. I was a ball boy. When Mark was playing at New Iberia Senior High School. I played like right after Mark. But Kayshawn just has done some things, and, just the things that you guys are seeing Kayshawn do, that he's not even scratching the surface of what we saw on a day-to-day basis at practice. He's unreal. He's unreal.
He's so natural. It's so so easy. It looks so easy to him.
Yes, it's so easy, and there's never been another a competitor I've ever seen like Kayshawn. Kayshawn would not lose going to eat pregame meal. He has to be the first. He is the ultimate competitor. He would not lose. So trust me, he will be ready.
How much do you get asked about NIL from players?
It happens, man. I mean, it's the world that we live in.
Yeah.
It's like my daughter always asks me for new shoes. It's going to happen.
Right. Sure.
I keep telling her you're going to have to go to work.
Do you think how is it recruiting against that?
Again,
do you change tactics?
No, I don't. But I don't let it bother me, because the thing about it is this the world that we live in, and if it comes up, it comes up. But that's above my pay grade. So I kind of. I'm only talking at X's and O's and how am I going to develop you and get you to the next level where we can do some real stuff.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned Brandon Harrison. I obviously took in part of what you were saying, and he's doing great at Texas, and he's a big reason why Texas is in the mix or has commitments from so many elite guys from Louisiana right now. Lance Hurd did not show up for his Texas official visit, which is probably the most interesting tidbit I can share with you. He did make it to Nebraska, and then he worked out at LSU, and he ended up staying for an unofficial visit for the entire weekend of LSU's elite camp. Right now, I already have an RPM for LSU. I think my colleague Billy does as well, and right now it's all LSU. Brad Davis has always had the in with LSU. And you talked about him before. Mike Denbrock has spent a lot of time with Lance Hurd, talking about him being a franchise left tackle playing opposite of Will. And right now, I would say it's a matter of if, not when Lance Hurd commits to LSU. Texas is certainly in it. They have been in it for a good amount of time. Bo Davis was leading that recruitment. But since Lance has kind of settled on the offensive side of the ball, sees his future at tackle, I think LSU has been the team to beat since they finally got him on campus in June. Hey, I really like this kid. I'm not going to talk about the on-3 rankings as being underrated, but he's a kid that I think by the end of his senior season is going to have a stock up. I got to see him out in Las Vegas a couple of months ago, and he's about 6'2", 180 plus pounds. He moves really naturally. I think he's a little bit raw, and I think he needs a little bit of coaching. Develop, see if he can get his hips out a little bit better. He's got a little bit to go, but, physically he stands out. I think he plays receiver and DB for Bishop Gorman, one of the top powerhouses in the high school level in the country. He plays on the same team as Zachariah Branch and gets to defend him every single day. So I think he's going to get better, and he's going to go to LSU and continue to develop. I think he's a little bit raw at this stage. Maybe he's a little bit underrated, but he's someone that, going to work with Robert Steeples and be a big corner, work on the boundary. And that's an area of need for LSU in this 2023 cycle. Hey,
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. As always, hit that like button, share button, comment button for, if you don't mind, for us. As if you have not subscribed, yes, please hit that subscription button.
Scan the QR code.
As we will be out of here at 9 a.m. this morning. Brian Burgess asked, tomorrow mailbag segment, correct?
Call in.
We will have our mailbag segment. We'll also have our voicemail segment. If you want to call and leave a voicemail, remember you can 225-229 Rofe Camara 7741. 225-229-7741 is the phone number for if you want to leave a voicemail. We'll have them asked and answered tomorrow. So we will have your mailbag segment. You had some trivia over there, didn't you? That we wanted
I do.
did we want to run any of that before?
The catch is
no answers.
I didn't put the answers in. So
all right, so Jamil or Bree here, let's have a type-off over there. Who can type faster on Google to see who we can find the answers to these trivia questions?
How many words a minute do you type? You triple digits?
We got any microphones over there? No. All right. Plug them in or
come over here.
Yeah. Need one of y'all come over here.
All right, let's go. Trivia.
You ready?
Yeah, ready.
And I don't know the answers. Like I said, that's the reason for all of this. Who is the only LSU running back to rush 40 times in a game?
Charles Alexander. Final answer.
Oh, wow.
To rush what?
40 times in a game.
Did you give me a multiple choice, though?
Like that. Charles Alexander, Kevin Falk, Lenny Fournette, Billy Cannon.
Oof.
Billy got it 40.
I'm stuck. I don't know, man. Back in the day, who else you giving it to?
Well,
the guy was a horse.
Didn't they have Jimmy T?
Just his freshman year.
Yeah. Okay.
Just his freshman year. I mean, his
and
sophomore
Billy Cannon was back there like chucking it a little bit.
Yeah.
He did everything.
Threw a bunch of
Iron Man football.
But I'm going Charles Alexander. Final answer.
We'll find out later.
Huh?
I got it. This is just telling me a bunch of stuff about.
Wait, no, it's not.
Jeremy Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I tried to look him up too.
I didn't read it.
I do feel like it's Charles Alexander though. Put an asterisk by it. I know the answer to this one. You ready for the next one?
Single season what? No,
Single game?
Single game. 40 carries.
Where's our boy when we need him? Full leads.
Okay.
Single game, LSU, carries, football.
This says he only carried 31 times for 197 yards in the Sun Bowl. And that was set in 2 rushing records. Sun Bowl rushing records.
It's in the book. It's in my desk.
I'm going Charles Alexander.
I feel like that's the right answer.
Huddle, what do you say?
They got some Charles and some Lenny's in there. It's crazy Lenny didn't get it 40 times. You would I mean,
Ole Miss, you had it
9 times.
Yeah, 9 times.
230 yards and 3 tugs.
I mean, when he turned, when
Running
he hit
downhill,
the dude, when he
coach.
hit the dude with the stiff arm down the sidelines,
He
and just
killed that guy.
When he hit that freshman.
Oh yeah, he made him quit football.
If he doesn't go out of
Deontay Anderson was it? Killed the guy.
5-star safety. If
Killed
he didn't
him.
go out of bounds, it's an all-timer.
Should've
Like
came
if
to
Lenny's
LSU.
able to stay in bounds on
Oh,
that.
no doubt.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, his Texas A&M touchdown run his freshman year was.
He sought that man out too.
He killed that guy.
That dude's from Lafayette. The dude he ran over.
DB?
Yeah, he's
He was
from
talking mad.
Acadiana.
Yeah, he was talking mad shit the whole game. Like
How'd
right
that work
before.
out for you?
Not great.
Tough.
Not great, Bob.
Tough day for the guy.
You got a final answer over there?
He ended up on a bumper sticker.
Charles Alexander.
Sweet. Good job.
Thank you.
We'll go with it.
How many times did Leonard Fournette, speaking of Lenny, run over 100 yards in consecutive games?
Ooh, sophomore season. I'm going 7.
I'll give you what the choices.
Sure.
7, 9, 10, 11.
7.
I think it might be 9.
I think it was 7 because the Bama game was like week
9.
Week 8. Well, they had the bye week.
7.
Final answer?
Final answer.
It's 9.
9.
He was on a heater.
Oh, didn't win the Heisman
Didn't
either.
Didn't even get invited.
Didn't even go to New York.
Didn't
That's
get
crazy.
invited.
Didn't get the dope.
Didn't
Didn't
get
get
thanked for that.
anything.
Leslie.
Les. I can't believe that
Who's
one
the
game.
only person that can mess that up? Les Miles.
Yeah.
I can't believe that one game. Everybody, look at him against the real defense. Like, he did it 9 straight
Yeah, right.
times. Like,
Yeah,
none of these
right,
defenses
man.
were good.
He ran away from everybody.
That was peak Lenny.
There's South Carolina highlights. I mean, that was like little league.
Yeah.
You got the biggest,
Park
strongest,
ball,
fastest kid.
For sure.
Leonard Fournette had 5 200 rushing yard games.
Do you have them in front of you?
This is
I could
from
probably-
LSU Sports.
I could probably
Right.
name them
But I
off
mean,
my
do you
head.
have the games in front of you?
No,
I can.
but
It's just
get
Leonard.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Leonard sophomore
I'm
year.
going
Ole Miss
for sure. Ole Miss for sure. Arkansas, I want to say he had a sneaky good one against Arkansas. South Carolina. I want to say he went over to Auburn when he was killing everybody.
Yeah,
I know
he was killing
the
everybody.
offensive tackle Gerald Hawkins, the one who's pulling around on the
What
play
year
where the
was
dude jumps
sophomore
over him.
Yeah, 15.
I asked him, I was like, bro, what were you looking for? Because if you watch the clip, Gerald's just like looking for somebody to block, and Leonard's just running.
The
by.
most impressive run of that day is the first play of the game. The fact that he tries to,
if he does,
at the 3-yard line, he tries to
the
stop and let that guy go to get in.
gets
But
about
the
a
move and then his speed, he is flying.
Showing off
You want the
everything.
game by game?
No, I want to guess.
Oh, okay. What are you guessing? Over 100 yards or over 200?
No, 200 yards.
No,
Over
over 200. Over 200.
Okay.
And are they all his sophomore season?
This is all 2014. No, 2015, 2016.
So all of his sophomore season.
Yeah.
Okay, so Auburn, Ole Miss.
Hold on. Nope.
Ole Miss was his junior year?
Yeah, Ole
No,
Miss.
no, Ole Miss's junior is
Ole
when they
Miss-
went to was in the
That's
white
what- that-
unis and they were.
Ole Miss was his junior year. Ole Miss his sophomore year was when they went all white.
It was at Ole Miss his sophomore year.
So that was the all whites. God,
You were right about Auburn, though.
All right, so Auburn, South Carolina.
No.
How many did he have against South Carolina?
158.
Wow.
And then he gave him his jersey.
Don't
Or was that his junior year or his sophomore year? That was his junior
No,
year.
I mean his sophomore year. That's when he ran over everybody. This is when he ran through.
Yeah, it's like the teams you're naming, like the ones that he went over 200 were all except for
Syracuse.
Auburn, Syracuse.
I forgot the Syracuse
The
game.
Brennan Harris play. He goes, "Give me the ball, give me the ball." Just took off.
Three games in a row.
Okay.
That season, he rushed for over 200 yards.
Okay, so
back to back.
So Syracuse, Mississippi State.
Technically 4, because that's 0.3 over.
Yeah, Mississippi State now.
Oh, I got him up right here.
You're not gonna guess one of them.
Yeah, I don't think he
out
will.
of conference game.
Yep.
Auburn and Syracuse, he went 200 back to back, and then there's one after that.
No, Auburn, it was 193.
What year are you looking at?
I'm looking at the right year. You said 15, 16? Or 14, 15?
15, 16.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now.
I'm looking at all.
You got all five
Auburn.
games
I got all
over
five.
200.
I
All
got
right, give them
all
to me.
five.
Syracuse.
What are they?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. He only had 3 games over 200 in his junior year.
Only.
Or in his sophomore year. It was.
He had 4.
It was Auburn, Syracuse, Eastern Michigan, and Texas Tech.
Texas Tech, you forget he was dominant. That
Oh,
night.
he was
212
He was
yards.
dominant.
He was
that
4
night.
touchdowns.
Dominant
He
that
was
night.
killing
Okay,
kids
so
out there.
that's 4.
That's the tortilla game.
That's 4. Charles
That was against
Charles
Pat Mahomes.
Alexander had 41 carries against Florida in 77.
Nice.
Thank you, Eddie Haskell.
This was in 15, so let's look up 2016.
The Syracuse game, he went off.
That was at Syracuse.
He went off.
Mm-hmm.
He went off.
That God, you were kind of spoiled by him. Did you realize what you were watching?
Yes.
Like it's like.
In fact,
but he made it look so easy.
Let me pull this
He
up.
rushed for
just
almost 2,000 yards his sophomore year.
Yeah, he got nothing to show for it.
Right.
A Texas Tech win when they were throwing tortillas in the air against Patty Mahomes, huh?
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
That was the night DJ Chark took that reverse.
Yeah, he was about to transfer.
Shut Patty Mahomes down.
Not really.
Not really, but still.
Enough.
LSU's still the only team I've ever seen shut Lamar Jackson
Lamar
down.
Jackson.
Yeah.
That's the next year, huh? Against Louisville in the bowl game.
That's one of the best they've ever played.
Mm-hmm.
That kicker.
Jamal
caught
Adams
it,
running
got it.
across the field.
Oh.
Catch Lamar.
Uh-huh.
Ugh.
You know,
He
if you're
scored a touchdown in every single game that season except Ole Miss. At Ole Miss.
in what 2016?
His sophomore year.
Yeah, 15, 16, his sophomore
Did
year.
did he score against Bama? You got one in?
Yeah, he got 1 touchdown.
He did?
What was
Yeah,
the, what were
he
the
had
numbers?
he rushed for only 31 yards, but a single touchdown.
Attaboy.
The only game he did not score a touchdown in was at Ole Miss.
What was the score?
30-16.
And it wasn't that close.
That's when
The Alabama
was
game,
that
yeah.
when Landon
Bo
Collins
Wallace?
Was that Landon Collins that took the ball from somebody that game?
Ole Miss.
No, I'm talking about Alabama.
He ripped it out of the hands of.
He bought it.
I just remember him recovering that J.C. Copeland fumble, and he almost scooped and scored it from like 95.
Don't remember.
You got one more? I got 2 more.
Yeah, hit me.
Who did LSU play when Kevin Falk set the single game record with 5 rushing touchdowns?
Houston.
K-Feezy.
I don't know. Texas Tech, Tulane, Kentucky, Auburn.
Say it again.
Texas Tech, Tulane, Kentucky, or Auburn.
Kentucky.
I don't know.
I have the answer.
What
It is?
Houston. 1996.
It's not even on the list. I mean, that's what's in the book. It's in the book.
Told y'all, man.
I mean, shit. What do you want from me? I didn't write the thing.
376 all-purpose yards.
He only played the second half.
Oh, God.
He was suspended the first half.
How many times was this man suspended?
Enough.
He was a menace.
Yeah.
Was he suspended against Notre Dame, too, or is that just the fumble? When he ran the
fumble.
kickback?
That was the fumble.
Who was the coach then?
Jerry D.
Leonardo.
They hated him. They had to hate him.
Oh, he's Italian. He cared more about his pasta than he did his running game. That's what. That's,
you know how
that's
good,
what screwed him.
or do you think that he was like, Kevin Falk will be fine? We'll give. You just need one half
Yeah.
of Kevin Falk.
Absolutely.
Give it to-
Easy,
give
get
it to 3.
Go get it. Yeah, all eyes on 3. Go get it done.
Smoking a cigar.
Yeah.
Give it to 3.
Cutting the steak.
Yeah, what'd you say?
Last one. What you got?
Who is not one of the 3 LSU running backs to rush for 4,000 career yards? Charles Alexander, Dalton Hilliard, Kay Feezy, Leonard Fournette.
I'm going to go Dalton Hilliard just because he shared carries with Gary James. So I'm going to go Dalton Hilliard. 4,000 yard back, you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Say it again. Lenny,
Kevin
Alexander,
Falk, Dalton
Kevin
Hilliard,
Falk.
Charles Alexander.
So I'm going to go, Dalton Hilliard.
I believe it's Lenny.
Is it?
I don't think
it
he
might
got
be
up to
Lenny, 'cause
4K.
You know what?
Dalton Hilliard is incorrect.
He's got 4,000?
Yeah.
He's a 4-year guy. I think it
It's
is
Leonard. I'll look that one up.
Is it Lenny?
Leonard.
Yeah, I found the top 5 LSU running backs of all time. Jimmy Taylor, Dalton Hilliard, Charles Alexander, Kevin Falk, Billy Cannon. Yeah.
He had 3,830 in his career. 170 short.
Geis is at 3,074. I'm looking at the.
He
I'm
has-
looking at the.
Did y'all
the
see all that
all-ti-
stuff on Twitter after Leonard Fournette
He doesn't have.
posted that?
He doesn't have any numbers.
I'm looking at the all-time list though, and it's Kevin Falk, Dalton Hilliard.
I mean,
Charles
that
Alexander,
stuff with the stat sheet's funny.
So-
Leonard
I mean,
Fournette.
and I'm not laughing at anything
Right.
that's being accused, all that stuff. I'm not doing that. But, like, I mean,
You watch the man play.
Cecil Collins is still in the record book. You know, I mean, I'm not defending anyone, but I mean,
Just the truth behind
you know, I
it.
mean, like that's if Cecil's still there, Geis should still be there. I don't agree with anything Geis did. I mean, Geis seems to be, you know, in a bad spot, but he was a dominant football player, and that's all I'm talking about. And to try and, you know, wash that out of the record books, come on. I mean, give Reggie Bush his Heisman back and put Darius Geis back in the stat sheets. I mean, I'm not trying to tell you that he's a good person. I'm not advocating for that, but he was a good football player while he was at LSU, just like Cecil Collins was, and we remember them. And I disagree with a lot of stuff that they were doing off the field. But, you know, I mean, come on. Does anybody who saw Darius Geis play forget him now that he's not in the stat sheet? What did that do? To me, it brought more attention to it.
That was a huge
I
conversation.
mean, now you're just going to keep talking about it. Like, well, yeah, but Darius Geis isn't in there. Why not? Well, he got caught up in some deal. All right, I got to take this call, business call. We'll be back with more of the Jordy
not a
Culotta Show
problem.
tomorrow, 7 a.m., driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
That's Sports Radio.